All right, I think they're ready for us. So what's up, everyone? We appreciate you all coming today. This is a huge day. And before we even start, I have to thank the whole RealFevr team for coming on board before their big day. At the time of this recording, they have a big day on August 12th, which is something that we will definitely touch on and I'm excited to get into. We have Pedro, the head of blockchain, here with us today. So we'll give him a better introduction when we get to the part. But I want to start by saying my name is Christian Hayes. I'm one of the co-hosts of the channel of We Got Next. And what we're trying to do is bridge the gap between the sports community as well as the cryptocurrency. And there's no one better to have on the show than have RealFevr, because that's exactly what they're doing too. With that, I want to let everyone know that we are doing a giveaway of $100 in Bitcoin once we hit 100 likes on any video and 100 subscribers. And then we will end up doing another giveaway of $25 in Bitcoin when whoever can come up with the best segment for our crypto segment. So as everyone knows, I do have much more than 100 subscribers on Twitter, but we want to try and grow this channel because not everyone likes to read Twitter and do things on Twitter. So we want to encourage people to end up listening here too. Just jumping into everything, the first thing I want to give congratulations out to the American Football Hall of Fame. We had people like Charles Woodson, Megatron, Calvin Johnson, Peyton Manning, Alan Faneca, and then John Lynch, who is now on the executive team with the San Francisco 49ers. We had Tom Flores, Drew Pearson, and Bill Nunn. So for all the American football fans out there, you definitely know who those players are. They, for me personally, they were part of my childhood. I had the Charles Woodson jersey growing up in the Raiders. Peyton Manning is someone everywhere around the world basically knows, either for his commercials or even just seeing him anywhere doing financial aspects. He was a huge person on the Indianapolis Colts. Then he went to the Broncos. So that was another big thing there. Just circling over to some signings that happened. So everyone that knows me knows that I'm a big fan of Josh Allen, and the man just got paid for the Buffalo Bills. He got a $258 million contract with $150 million of that guaranteed. So congratulations to Josh Allen on that aspect. And then just throwing a little funny. So everyone out there on Twitter that follows LaMelo Ball, they had a rumor out there saying that LaMelo Ball wanted to change his number from 2 to 1, but he didn't get the application in time. And LaMelo Ball is saying that's funny because I've been trying to get the number 1 since I got drafted into the league. So I don't know what you guys are talking about missing a deadline. So I just thought that was creative because the whole Ball family is trying to do big things, but LaMelo is just keeping it 100 with everyone, and they're trying to put out different things. So going into the Olympics aspect of this, and we will touch on some football here. Brazil beat Spain for the gold medal game. So congratulations to Brazil. And Mexico beat Japan for bronze, which is a big thing for them. And the news that I was talking to Pedro before, and we have to talk about, because it's the biggest thing people are talking about, is Messi going to PSG. So Pedro, what are your thoughts on the whole Messi going there, teaming up with Mbappe and Neymar?
All right, that's a very good question, Chris. First of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for having a RealFevr. I'm sure we'll have time to discuss the project and everything.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Messi, right? I mean, I love football, soccer. Um, and I think there's I'm a Portuguese, right? So I'm also a fan of Ronaldo, obviously, and my preferred player is Ronaldo, I have to say. Obvious reasons. I'm Portuguese, right? He's like a king for us. But to be honest, I'm quite excited because one of the things that I've always wanted to see is Messi playing for another team, right? Besides Barcelona and Argentina, obviously. So I'm rather curious. I think he's going to do pretty well. And I'm not sure if Neymar is that excited,
I know.
but I'm sure PSG fans are. So, and I am as well, man. I really want to see Messi shining in a new team, and I think he's one of the best players in the world. Just most people probably the best player in the world. So I just want him to. I just want to see him shine in a new team, in a different championship. I think he's brilliant. So I just want to see him prove that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's crazy is, and we always talk about the financial aspect of it, this also just shows you a change for Barcelona, because at one point they had Suarez, Neymar, and Messi, and all of them gone now. And it's so disappointing to end up seeing, because then you have to look at management and then just everything that's going on over there of how did you let them all go almost year after year type of thing. And they were, I remember, I'll never forget when Messi was there, then they got Neymar and then Suarez. And it was like you had them almost all at their prime or almost at their peak doing things. So I am happy to see Messi going back with one of his buddies. A lot of people I know, soccer, know Messi and Neymar. They just competed against each other, Brazil and Argentina, in the games over there. But it's good to see them together. And then I love just seeing Messi's family. They all look happy. The kids look adorable. And he just seemed excited again after seeing him upset at the press conference. Then now seeing him in PSG, he just seemed happy on the field. So it'll be good to see them. Just like you, I've always been a Cristiano Ronaldo fan. Funny enough, whenever I took like different classes, I would always put an O at the end of my name just to say Cristiano instead. So that's the big thing I wanted to talk about over there. We'll talk about a couple of crypto things really quick, and then we'll dive right into some big things. So the first thing, congratulations to FTX. They locked up Kevin O'Leary, who's now going to be one of their speakers, and Kevin O'Leary will be getting paid in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So congratulations, Kevin O'Leary. At one point, Kevin O'Leary was over here saying he didn't really care for Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now he's one of the people going to be a spokesperson for FTX. So FTX is doing a lot of things there. Another company that we have to give congratulations to is Chavala, and not just them as a cryptocurrency, but them integrating UST, which is a part of Terra, into their company. So now you can purchase different flights or trips using UST. A lot of people are like, why are we going to use Bitcoin or Ethereum to end up purchase because the value is going to go up? Whereas now you're at a stable coin value and the value is not going to fluctuate as much. So everyone out there, if you ever wanted to go traveling and you don't want to use like Travelocity, Priceline, Expedia, all those different things, you can try out Chavala if you want. Another thing I want to end up just letting everyone know about, there's starting to be more investment management companies that are investing into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So Neuberger Berman, which is an investment manager of over $400 billion, they are investing into cryptocurrency now. And that's something I think is just huge. The more people end up seeing getting involved in it is massive in itself, and it continues to grow the space. But all that information is good, but we have a big day tomorrow. So I got to end up getting into that information. And without further ado, I want to give a better introduction to the head of blockchain, a great company that I continue to watch for a long time, ever since Moonrock Capital got involved and invested. That's what really triggered me to end up looking deeper into RealFevr. And I got to just welcome the head of blockchain. We have Pedro here with us today. So I really do appreciate you being here. So before we start, this is a question everyone always asks. So how did you get into cryptocurrency, and what was the first cryptocurrency you invested in?
Sure. So actually, I'm Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm kidding. No. So I got in like, I mean, I usually say that I got in 2016, but honestly, the first cryptocurrency that I bought was like Dodge in 2014. I don't count it because, at some point I thought I had lost like access to that wallet. I found it like last year by chance, honestly, but it was just like such a small amount. It doesn't really matter because I didn't even understand it at the time, to be honest. I bought it because I was like, oh, Bitcoin is like 300 or whatever. It's too expensive. I'm going to buy this one. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It is what it is, right? I didn't even, and I studied economics, man, but I didn't care about the supply. I was a bit dumb. That doesn't matter, right? But I got involved in like 2016, like properly. That's when I started digging to Bitcoin, what like Ethereum, like how blockchains worked, and I think that was like a life-changing moment for me. I remember like pretty thoroughly, like being on holidays and just like reading about like the Ethereum white paper and like being like super in love with the concept of smart contracts, having decentralized applications, all that. I love the concept of store of value, but I always thought that I mean the financial markets are so complex, right? I mean store of value is great, but like what about the rest, right?
Yes.
So once I fully understood Ethereum, I was like, okay, this is going to change how we do like everything, right? Digitally. And I was, I fell in love and I just wanted to change my life so that I could be working full time on crypto. I ended up doing that after 2017. So in 2017, I started basically writing for CCN at the time. Yeah, Crypto News. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think they're like pretty big now, but like, at the time they were pretty big.
Yeah.
Also wrote for Cointelegraph.
Wow.
I'm doing research for quantum economics now. But basically I started writing, right? I was learning. That's how most people start, right? And I wanted to just share my thoughts, and like some people liked it, and that's how I got involved, just like writing stuff. But since it has been like a crazy journey, to be honest, doing like so many different things, and like this I think this like this ecosystem is crazy, man. It's absolutely insane, and not only about the opportunities, but like the people that you meet because of the ideals, right? everybody's like mostly thinking about the future, saving now, etc. Like how we can do things better, and I fell in love with those concepts, right? I think that's why that changed about, to be honest. So once I got into crypto like properly, I say.
Wow. Thank you for that. So for everyone out there that knows CCN and Cointelegraph, you could tell that Pedro's been in the game for a while because those are ones that have been around, and for you to be writing with them, that's big in itself. But it takes people, everyone has to end up starting with reading. Like he brought up the Ethereum white
Yes.
paper, or you can Bitcoin white paper. You have to read over this information. You can't just go off of what other people say because they can make it up. There's scammers out there. Every single group brings it up. RealFevr mentions you have to watch out for scammers that are out there because they will do it. If you're not reading, you're just going off what someone else says, you will get scammed. And it only takes you one time to realize what's going on in your life of, all right, let me do this for myself and then do the research and stuff. So that is really big. And that's around the same time that I got into. But I want to talk about the big day tomorrow. Before we go into that, what is RealFevr for anyone out there that doesn't necessarily know?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So basically, RealFevr is a fantasy football app that now is releasing digital collectibles of unique moments, basically football moments. When I say football, I mean soccer. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a force of habit, basically.
No, you can always say that.
Cool. So yeah, so basically, what we're releasing are these digital collectibles, NFTs, for people who are in crypto, that can be used in the future within the app, within the fantasy app, not only for wagering, because we have a token, right, and the token will be used within the fantasy football app for wagering as well. You can bet with your friends. You can wager with your friend. I cannot say bet, sorry, wager. That's what I mean. And and the collectibles will actually give you points, right? Like if you have the players in your team, you get the collectibles, you get extra points. So because there's wagering, there's an actual incentive for people to buy or borrow the assets.
Thank you. So all of the American listeners out there, it's similar to NBA Top Shot. If you've ever listened or watched any of the community updates that RealFevr does, the CEO will discuss it. The difference is they're becoming compliant. RealFevr wants to do it the compliant way, whereas NBA Top Shot has had some of their issues and stuff like that. But it's the football version of the NBA Top Shots in basketball. I do like the idea of what RealFevr is doing, and we'll get into that more because you're going more in depth than what NBA Top Shot did. So what are in-game video collectibles for people out there?
That's a great question. So basically, in-game video collectibles, I think a very straightforward example is like if you ever played like video games like Counter-Strike or I don't know, any game, right? You have skins or you have objects, items that you can collect, right? The difference here is that once you collect these items that exist in a blockchain and they belong to you only, you're the only one who can mint these assets, right? We don't mint tokens like people. The collectibles people do. Once you mint these collectibles, you can actually use them within a game, basically. And so this is what we say, what we call like in-game collectibles, because the difference here is that, for example, in traditional games, the assets belong to the company, right? You can rarely trade them with other players, and you cannot even take them away from the ecosystem, right? That completely changes with blockchain, and we want to be part of that change. So that's the reason why not only the collectibles are protected by IP, because we have the rights of the videos, so that whatever we're selling, you have the IP rights of those assets. Most importantly is that people can actually use the assets, right? They belong to them, they're immutable, they're in a blockchain, they're safe, they're it's a public blockchain, decentralized, and they can actually use the games within fantasy football application, basically. Yeah.
Wow. So that was something when I was doing my research and just continuing to watch on what all you guys put on Twitter. It was exciting to see that you'll be able to use that within fantasy football. And now everyone wants to know about the in-game collectibles. So when does your first pack release?
Yeah, great question. It's tomorrow, actually. So the first packs that are being sold to the public are basically starting. The release date is tomorrow, 3 p.m. London time. I'm not sure what time it is in the US at the time. Like
so it'll be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, 10 p.m. So people will be able to buy the first packs basically. The opening date is one week later. I think it's next week. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So do you know the cost of like what it'll be for each pack?
Absolutely. The basic pack, it has a cost of $10. The mid range, the rare one, has a cost of $40, and the super rare has a cost of $70. And yeah, I mean, a funny story is that well, I don't think the like on a personal note, right? I don't think the packs are expensive at all, especially compared to Top Shot.
No.
But we actually had a huge overhead cost of like printing like the packs, right? Because they have a
Hmm.
cost. They're like, because our project is deployed on the Binance Smart Chain, so we actually pay the fees to deploy the packs, right? It's not like NBA Top Shot, and I really like to play NBA Top Shot, but no, we could discuss if it's like a real blockchain or not, because I cannot
Yeah.
track my addresses, etc. Right? I love Roham. He's an awesome guy, brilliant guy, but it is what it is, right? I really
Hmm.
respect the game. I completely understand why he chose, why he made the decisions that he made in terms of technicalities, let's say. But we want the other way around, public blockchain. Obviously, we have like a huge cost, around 90K, just to print
Mm.
the first drop, right? So on each drop, we always have that cost, right? So that's why we couldn't make the packs cheaper, right? But even though like, and this is on a personal note, obviously, but I think they're like pretty cheap, especially the basic, because, and I'm not sure if you were going to ask this, but anyways, I think it's important to talk about this, which is the collectibles that you can get from each pack. Um,
Yes.
you can get them all, right? What I mean is that even if you only buy basic packs, you can always get like the unique one, right?
Hmm.
Or a legendary one, for example, epic, whatever. So you don't need to buy like a super rare pack to get like the best, um collectibles. Like in terms of probabilities, of course, if you buy those, you have higher probabilities of getting better, collectibles. But even if you buy the basic ones, you can still get those, right? Lower probability, but you still have them. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, everyone out there, if you even come close to thinking 10, 40, or 70 is a lot of money, one, I'll just buy your packs instead. And two, you guys are buying gravel and rock. So if you're
Yeah.
spending $100,000 on gravel and rock, you can spend 10, 40, or $70 on these different packs that are out there. Now, we talked about the packs, but who are inside some of the packs? Even we can just talk about the top ones if you want.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, sure. I mean, the top ones are obviously Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's obviously other players like Hulk, for example. I mean, many other ones, but at least the ones that I like the most are Bruno Fernandes, obviously, for the unique, and Ronaldo, obviously, for the legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, I'm quite hopeful I get at least one Ronaldo, man. I'm gonna have
I
loads of
know.
pets. I really want to get one.
Yeah. So you brought up Bruno Fernandes, and
Yep.
he's an ambassador for RealFevr. How has it been working alongside with him and him helping to promote this company?
I mean, it's I mean, it's a very interesting experience. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is I mean, he's a character, he's like, he's so focused, like he wants to be, he reminds me sometimes of Ronaldo, because he wants to be the very best at what he does. Everything he talks about is football. Everything he cares about is football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Playing for Manchester, that the only thing he cares about, like being the best at what he does.
Yes.
I think it's awesome. Not even I here in crypto, and I love crypto, but even I have stuff outside crypto. It's like he seems like so focused in football, nothing else matters. I mean, he liked the crypto idea, he wanted to learn more, but what he really likes is the football thing, right? The connection with football. And working with him is I mean, it's awesome, right? You're it's fun to to work with somebody who has such a new experience as Bruno Fernandes. I mean, for football fans, right?
Yes.
Because I've watched the guy playing since like he's I don't know, like 18 years old, right?
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, it's a bit crazy. Like now I'm actually working with the guy, right? He's doing stuff with the company I'm working with. It's a bit
I
weird.
know.
It's a bit
Yeah.
odd. It's a bit odd. It's a bit odd. But but it's awesome, man. It's an awesome experience, and he's awesome. He's an awesome person, man. Yeah.
That's crazy. Something else, like just because I know Cristiano Ronaldo, everyone knows his follower count. But
Of
if you
course.
look at Hulk or Bruno Fernandes, they have so many people on social
Sure.
media. So that
Sure.
helps when just talking about the company and product. But it doesn't only just help Real Fever, it helps cryptocurrency in itself because you're able to start with the in-game video collectibles, and it's something people can relate to. But then I want to talk about the Fevr token because not everyone knows about that. So what is the Fevr token and how do you purchase the in-game collectible packs?
Okay, it's a very good question. So the Fevr token is basically the fuel of RealFevr. It's the gateway for the packs. So you can buy the Fevr token on PancakeSwap, Gate.io, soon on Uniswap as well. I think starting next week. We're building a bridge now this week. Um, And but you cannot buy it now. By the way, if you see some Fevr tokens on Uni, it's not ours.
Scam.
It's
Yep.
not. It's a scam. Yeah, basically it's a scam. Don't buy it yet. We'll announce it. Just follow our Twitter, Telegram, etc. Like follow us, and you'll get the news. But we're going to Uniswap as well. Um, but basically, Fevr is the fuel to, like for of RealFevr and the gateway to the token. So it means that people need the Fevr token to buy the packs, right? Um, in the marketplace, and this I think this is an important differentiation in the marketplace. Once you have the collectibles, the NFTs, right, and you can buy and sell them, you'll do that in BNB because it's a Binance smart chain project, right?
Mhm.
But for the packs, if you want to be the first person owning that collectible, you need to have Fevr. And the reason that we did not use Fevr for the marketplace is very simple, because we don't want people to dump the token, to use the token, once they get the token, they'll just dump it in. That's not the goal,
Yep.
man. That's like not the goal at all.
Yeah. So with that being said, when you want to purchase the packs, how will
Yep.
somebody do it? Can you walk them through the process
Mhm.
from basically if they have fiat and then going on
Yep.
Pancake Swap to the purchase?
Sure. So I mean, you can convert, like I'm assuming that you can get BNB like from Binance, or some other way, Uniswap,
Mhm.
PancakeSwap, whatever it is. But once you have like Ethereum, BNB, whatever it is, you can just for example, I'm gonna give the example that I use the most, right? So I go to PancakeSwap, look up Fevr, just trade it with for example, Binance coin. And then you from that point on, you have Fevr on your own wallet, right? On your own address. You go to our website, fevr.com, realfevr.com, sorry. And in the packs section, if you scroll a little bit, you should see basically the basic, the rare, and the super rare. You just click buy, and yeah, from that point on, you can connect to MetaMask, right? It will ask
Mhm.
you to connect to MetaMask. You'll just accept the connection, and basically the transaction is, you obviously have to pay fees, right? Authorize the smart contract to spend your Fevr. You need to spend transaction fees on each purchase, but that's just like blockchain stuff, right? If you do crypto, you're used to this type of transaction
Absolutely.
fees. It is what it is. So basically, yeah, you need to have BNB, for example, and Fevr in this case to purchase packs, because you need the BNB to pay for the fees, right? The transaction fees, and the Fevr to actually use for the purchase, for the packs purchase.
Yeah. So something that Pedro brought up is all of this is on the Binance Smart Chain, which
Yep.
is very helpful because anyone out there that uses OpenSea or Rarible, those fees are
Yep.
astronomical. Like it'll be
Yep.
super expensive. So the fees that you're going to even pay for these transactions, minimal. You will
Yep.
still have so much money, which I
Yep.
do appreciate. And the
Of
next
course.
thing I just want to end up talking about is we talked about the fantasy football aspect. Can we talk about
Mhm.
the free and token leagues that you guys will be doing in the future?
Of course. So basically, right now, if you go into the fantasy football app, the Real Fever, like, you can search it on iOS or Google Store, and basically, you can play free leagues, right? Or you can subscribe to premium, have a few advantage, but again, I'm very open about it, right? I don't think that the real cool stuff is out there yet, right? Um,
Mhm.
right now you can play fantasy league. It's pretty cool if you like fantasy leagues, but it's going to be way cooler when you can actually bring collectibles into your teams,
Yes.
get extra points, wager tokens, right? Because that's the idea. You can bet with your friend. Let's say, and I was just discussing with the team member at dinner, right? Because we're watching the final right now. There was a final, Chelsea at Villarreal, the
Mm-hmm.
Super Cup, basically European Super Cup, and 12 minutes till the end, 1-1, right? And we're like talking, and how cool would it be that I would bet him, like, look, Villarreal is going to score in the next, like, before the game ends, right? And we can just bet on the fantasy football app. Sorry, wager,
That'd
Fever
be
tokens.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, right? I mean, it's with tokens. It's very easy to do as well. I mean, that's what we want to add to the fantasy leagues, basically.
Yeah, and it's something that it is the future. I was talking to a couple other people for in-game wagering will be a big thing moving forward. You have, of course, different companies out there like DraftKings or
Sure.
FanDuel, and things of
Mhm.
that nature. But what I like about RealFevr is you'll be able to have your in-game collectible, then do wagers against people.
Mhm.
And the exciting thing is with RealFevr, the sky is the limit. Like you just said, you're kind of only scratching the surface, and there's so much excitement already with
Oh man.
just the in-game video collectibles. So that's something I was really excited for. Now, I know I'm not the only one out there that is a registered user. So how many registered users do you guys have, would you
Uh,
say?
yeah, right now, like well, we have different metrics. Like people who download the app like over 1,200,000. People like who play the game like on a monthly basis over like 100. I would say. So which is like it's pretty good. I would say for a fantasy football app.
That's
So
really
yeah,
good.
yeah. I think the stats are pretty good. And as I said, there's so much stuff coming. And one of the things that I like about this project is that we're actually developing like technology that's pretty awesome and nobody has. Like, for
Mhm.
example, for the borrowing and lending, which seems something pretty like straightforward.
Yes.
What we're doing is a bit different, right? Because you want to be able to lend one NFT to many people, right? You want like imagine if you can only lend to one guy and only one guy has a like can use your NFT for his team, like it's not as good as like if you could link directly to 100 guys, right? You would get like interest for like way more people, right? So we were doing that like with fractionalization. And I'm actually also working with 1inch on that because I'm an advisor for 1inch. So i'm
Mm,
also i'm also advising them on how to
wow.
fractionalize these NFTs. And but I want to but I'm doing it like because I have self-interest, right? I want to use the technology myself within
Yeah,
real
exactly.
fever. I'm trying them to build something that I want to use on a personal
Yeah.
level. I shouldn't say this for. Well, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. I don't mind. It's okay. They don't mind. They don't mind.
So I
No,
do
but
have
it's true. It's true.
I have a question because you brought up the borrowing and lending aspect.
Yeah.
So when the packs are released, if you have like the Bruno Fernandes in-game video collectible or like the Cristiano Ronaldo, would you be able to just like lend that? And how will the money aspect work? Like
Okay.
who gets paid and stuff?
Sure. Right now, like right now, we don't have that functionality. I mean, we have the borrowing and lending set up, but it's like in a different protocol for like 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 a testnet, right? It's not live yet. Um, like right now, people can buy and sell they will be able to buy and sell once the opening day event goes live, right? And
Hmm.
they have the collectibles they can buy and sell. But once the borrowing and lending is live, basically, it's very. I think the process is very straightforward. Once you borrow the NFT, basically the people who pay you like you decide like there will be a range of prices, right? Like suggestions, but you decide the price and the time frame, right? That you want to like to lend it. Usually it's going to be per week because games are like on a weekly basis, but we're going to give different options, going to give out different options as time goes by. Initially we're going to set out something very simple like weekly basis, and you can lend to like for example a limited number of 100 people, for example. Okay. The idea is that like the interest paid will be will be split up by the people who are like borrowing, right? So as I said, it's way better for like any part, like all the parts involved, because for example if it would be like one person, they would have to pay all the interest, right? If it's divided by 100 people, you like the people are happy because they pay way less, and the guy who's getting the money is happy because he's getting whatever he wants to receive, right? I mean at the same time there's no way and anybody can actually steal the NFT, because what you get is like a representation, like a ticket, right? You have a ticket that proves that you have a share of this NFT, right? And you can use that
Yeah.
ticket within the app, right? So you cannot actually steal it. It gets locked into a contract that we own, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, but basically this is basically the setup, right? So who pays for the lender? Basically the borrower in this case. Yeah, the
Hmm.
people who are borrowing. Yeah.
So the other thing I want to touch on in the free leagues, you guys kind of have like subscriptions. So
Mhm.
how are those going to go?
I think that's going to be very, very cool, especially for token holders, because the idea of subscription is more or less like staking, right? You want people to, forego the ability to sell those tokens and just lock those tokens away, right? For as long, like, for as much, for as long as possible, and like the more money, the better, right? So actually, in this model, we're using something very similar to Hex. I'm not sure if you know Hex from Richard Hex
Yes.
project. Yeah. So
Yep.
basically, we're using something very, very similar, because what we want to do actually is something like Hex says, which is basically a time lock based on the amount and the time that you lock. So which is, I think it's very smart actually. But we're
Hmm.
using a similar mechanics, which is the more that you lock and the longer that you lock, the better the reward that you get. And
Wow,
we're
that's
still
good.
we're still yeah we're still tweaking the reward, like in terms of uh, number of packs and the type of packs, right? Because you have two tiers. You can get more packs or you can get better packs, right? So we're still like tweaking that bit. But this is the generally like the longer you lock it for and the more you lock it for, the more fever you lock it, the more packs that you get basically each drop.
Yeah. So how has the demand been leading up to the packs coming out tomorrow?
I mean, for the token wise, I mean, honestly, price has been fluctuating a bit,
Yeah.
I would expect like more demand to rise tomorrow, starting like especially from the moment that the packs start being sold, which is
Yeah.
very, very odd, I would say. But I'm trying to like mimic human behavior, and I think people do things like in the present time, right? I mean, some people prepare for stuff, but most of us, even I included, will probably like 10 minutes before, okay, shit, I need to buy a bit more BNB. I need to like, oh my god, I haven't set up that. Once like we're like 10 minutes away, it's like the idea, right? It didn't seem like clearly there was like loads of interest, but like, people weren't like discussing that much like on forums and etc. Like, but when the IDO came, boom, sold in 10 minutes, sold out in 10 minutes. That's what we're expecting. Like sold out
Yes.
in, like very quickly.
Yeah, so I do have to touch on what you were just bringing up, because congratulations to you all for your IDO. That
Thank
was
you.
something that sold out really quickly. And then even when it did hit Pancake Swap, you continue to just see the demand for the Fevr token in itself. So I really do have to say that's congratulations. I was listening to your CEO. I try to listen to the community updates all the time. And he did create a good analogy saying that the IDO sold out really quickly and then the price continued to move up. So you can only imagine what the demand will be per se for the packs when they do come out. And what I like about the packs, it's not something that everyone can get because there's a limited amount of the packs, which will continue to generate the amount what is rare, but then also the value in the in-game video collectibles that you do have. So my next thing I wanted to end up asking is, will athletes or clubs be able to take part or work with you all with the in-game video collectibles moving forward?
Yes, that's exactly our goal. So we're launching like in Q3 or Q4. I don't remember correctly, but
Mhm.
like Q3 or either Q3 or 4. We're launching the club's launchpad, and basically clubs will be able to launch their own video collectibles as well. And yes, we want the people to be able to use the collectibles in the same way that they use ours, right? They can just like bring them in the in game, get extra points, etc. So it's the same logic basically.
Yeah. So
But the
thank you
money
for,
goes directly only to clubs. Basically, we don't. I mean, we always take a cut, like a fee from the transactions, but like the right holders will get like all the money, which in that case is going to be the clubs. Yep.
thank you. So
Yep.
you touched on it a little bit talking about Q3 and Q4, but what are the plans for the remainder of this year and kind of moving into next year?
Oh, it's a good question. I mean, so much like so. There's the club's launchpad. There's the subscription staking. There's the like the token leagues and the Fevr leagues next year,
Yeah.
and still for this year the borrowing landing at the end of Q4. Yeah.
Yeah. So something that we mentioned in the beginning, talk about Bruno Hernandez. So there's a lot of athletes out there like Tom Brady, you have FTX working with now Kevin O'Leary, and then Saquon Barkley for all the American football fans out there getting involved in cryptocurrency. And then, of course, Bruno Fernandes with this. What are your thoughts when you see a lot of these different sports athletes that a lot of people look up to getting involved in cryptocurrency?
I mean, it's only good for the ecosystem, right? I mean, the more people that join, and like if these people have like huge followers, I mean, low following basis, I mean that's awesome, right? That's what we really want. It's people like this giving credit to the crypto ecosystem, right? If they want, because I mean, there's obviously two types of people, right? The ones who receive it because they have like a deal or something and that's it, and the other type of people like is like the guys who receive it and really want to keep it, right? They're like
Mhm.
hodlers, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think like most of these guys, like sports guys, they don't understand like the value of something that's scarce. So
Mhm.
I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. will keep them like will basically make them FOMO into other like other assets, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see it as a good thing, obviously.
Yeah. So I want to get on the sports personal aspect with you. So do you have a favorite sport or sports team?
Me myself,
Yeah.
yeah, Benfica, I would say.
Okay.
Benfica Lisbon, yeah.
Okay. So the next thing I want to just ask you, and we ask this to everyone. So we started to notice an increase in the amount of awareness for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin this recent year, especially with COVID and stuff. What do you feel are the reasons why more people now are starting to get involved and interested in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin?
Well, that's a very good question. I think like the pandemic, COVID was definitely a great incentive because people were home, right? So they just
Hmm.
like Googled it, and because prices went up, and I think that's basically if I had to like to put it very simply, I think what makes people want to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, like all cryptocurrencies, price going up, right? Its prices go up, more people want to buy. That's it, simple stuff, right? The more that prices go up, more demand we'll have, and yeah, like the more hodlers that we have, the less people selling, like the more prices go up. I'm a very simple guy, in my analysis, but but honestly, this is it, right? We want projects that incentivize people to not to sell, and incentivize buyers like to hoard into the project. That's it, right? That's what we really need to for prices go up and more people buying. Yeah, and I think Bitcoin, look, Bitcoin is the best, example, best crypto, best everything, right? It's what still attracts most people, and it's so simple, right? It has so little incentives. Like every 4 years you get like a halving, but that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a fucking incentive. There's no other incentive in Bitcoin. That's it.
Exactly.
Like so I mean, if that works, I'm sure the other stuff will work too.
Yeah, and something that I do appreciate about Bitcoin as well as cryptocurrency, it's universal. So
Yep.
it's one of those things that if I end up traveling to Europe or Portugal or somewhere, you can end up using the same currency. Of course,
Yep.
some of these countries do accept either the euro or the US dollar, but a universal currency that you can go everywhere with. And that's something I really do appreciate. Then you start to see Latin American countries accepting it as a legal tender in their countries, which is big. And then for
Go
everyone
El
out there,
Salvador. Woo-hoo.
yes, I know. El Salvador did it. That was a huge thing. I joked around with some of my friends that are Salvadorian, and I was like, El Salvador is my new favorite place. And then
Yeah.
we end up start talking about that. So that's another big thing. But you also saw AMC, for all the moviegoers out there, they're going to start accepting Bitcoin later in the year. I have my own personal reasons why. If you look at the whole meme phase and stuff, you start to see Doges in that, AMC, GameStop, and then people start to do like the Bitcoin thing. So they'll move into altcoins. So it is a huge thing seeing that. And I do believe that stable coins will also start to be accepted in these different places. So AMC might start off with Bitcoin, but they're going to realize that their balance sheet won't necessarily continue to fluctuate and go up. It'll fluctuate different ways. So they might want a more stable currency to accept payment for in their countries and in their businesses. But I do congratulate AMC for doing that. So the last thing for you, Pedro, is where could people stay updated and in touch with you all, either moving forward, like for August 12th, when the pack happens, but also with launch pads and things you have?
Sure. I think the best way is probably Twitter and Telegram. So Twitter is RealFevr, and Telegram, I believe, is t.me/RealFevr official, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm not mistaken. So yeah, those are the channels that I would recommend. Everything that we discuss and everything that we publish there, it's official. You can trust it. Basically, everything that you don't see in there, don't trust it, because there's like so many scams. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So that's something that Pedro brought up again. So you will see the RealFevr announcements and like the RealFevr community channels that they have, but make sure you're not just going into some scam ones. You will see ones that say, hurry and give us $1,000 within this hour for you to end up making 100x. Don't join those. You'll be able to know. You can just check the admins who are a part of it as well, and that's how you can verify it. But also just like double check with their Twitter or on their website. If when you click their Twitter and their website, it doesn't take you straight to the Telegram, that clearly isn't one of their actual channels. So with that, I'm excited. I'm going to be getting prepared for tomorrow morning for the pack drop. So hopefully everyone out there, you do as well. Good luck to everyone that are trying to go after Hulk and Cristiano Ronaldo, and of course the ambassador himself, Bruno Fernandes, but also the common ones will be worth a lot too. But before we go, I want to just thank Pedro for being on the show, since they have so much going on and they have worked so many hours. I was listening to Fred when he was talking about it. It's been 12 to 14 hours, he said, some of you all do in a day. And I just have to commend you guys for that, because it's blood, sweat, and tears in this industry. And I also want to just thank RealFevr for letting me have Pedro and just sharing more about the company in itself and just getting your thoughts on it from a different perspective. So thank you for that a lot.
Thank you so much, Chris, for having me and giving RealFevr the opportunity to be on your podcast. I'm sure it's going to be one of the biggest one days. You're one of the few people who actually cares. Like, in interviewing like people from companies, understanding the projects, like doing like, good questions, research. It will pay off, man. Honestly, I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, thank you for that. So guys, we appreciate you all watching and getting involved. Enjoy the packs when you do get them. But with that being said, we got next. Pedro, we're out. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.